Hi, I'm Satin Brownie, and this is Finding Happy Podcast. Finding Happy Podcast is my journey to discovering my own happiness through conversations with other persons who inspire me in one way or another. This podcast is about connecting with self to create possibilities and opportunities for happiness.
You deserve peace of mind. You deserve wellness. You deserve laughter. You deserve to smile. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve calm in your world. Your life isn't happening to you. You are life. Your happiness is not something you attain. You are. You generate happiness. You are your joy. You are the producer of your joy. You are the producer of your happiness. You deserve to be happy, so you go find it. Go find your happy at any cost. Risk it all for your own happiness. Find your happy.
Good day. I am Satin Brownie, and welcome to my podcast. Thank you for joining me. This is Finding Happy Podcast. I'm feeling amazing. How are you? I hope you are fantastic. I hope you are phenomenal. I hope you're feeling amazing. I hope you're breathing well. I hope you take the time to feel the oxygen coming through your nostrils and permeating your body. You know, I hope that you are living in the present. I hope you are aware of your fingers and your toes and your smile and just the wellness of yourself and the energy, your energy. I hope you're aware of your energy. I hope today you feel good. I hope you feel really good today. I hope something amazing happened to you today. You listening to this podcast right now. You know what I hope? I hope you get a surprise smile. I hope somebody surprise you today and it just gives you the biggest smiles. And for all the leaders out there, and you're all leaders, you lead from where you are, but especially for those people who function in titled leadership positions, you know what my wish is for you today? My wish for you today is amazing mindfulness. My wish for you today is laughter. My wish for you today is kindness. Someone be kind to you, be nice to you, be thoughtful to you. I hope you get a nice embrace. And if you don't get it, I hope you embrace someone and feel the connection of your bodies. And I hope it makes you smile. I wish all titled leaders today an amazing, phenomenal day. Today, we're going to be speaking with a youth leader that I've admired. She is very lovely, always pleasant. She's always pleasant. I've never seen her not smiling. Her name is Ruth Lawrence. She is such an amazing person. And we're going to be having her on the program today talking about mindfulness in leadership. But before we go to her, let me just share. I read an article on Forbes.com, and I always go to Forbes. I love their thoughts that they share on the website, and I really like the stories. I love the positive messages in their stories. So I'm just going to be sharing snippets from it, excerpts from the article. The article was written by Monica Thakrar, and she is the president of MTI, a leadership training, coaching, and consulting firm. The title of the article, which was written June 28, 2017, or at least that's when it was published, the title is How to Create Mindful Leadership. So the case of mindfulness, the article says, large companies such as Google, Atna, and General Mills have been implementing large-scale mindfulness programs over the past few years. Thousands of employees have gone through their program with data now showing that there is a definite impact on leadership skills by practicing mindfulness, such as increase in productivity, increase in decision making, increase in listening, reduction in stress levels. But for leaders, it says, the biggest benefit of mindfulness is its direct impact on the development of emotional intelligence. Daniel Goleman, a leading expert on emotional intelligence, recently made a direct connection between mindfulness and emotional intelligence, saying that emotional intelligence builds attention and focus. Attention and focus are cornerstones in enhancing self-awareness as well as empathy. Self-awareness and empathy are critical skills to enhancing emotional awareness. Google's mindfulness program, the article continues, focuses directly on the link between mindfulness and emotional intelligence, and it's had some significant traction with employees. Mindfulness tools include meditation, breathing, yoga, walking, music, nature, anything that allows you to come back to the present moment. Our minds are often thinking about regrets, incidents from the past, and worries about the future. Any tool that brings the mind back to the present moment is a mindfulness tool. There are a couple of tools that I use myself that helps me stay in the moment. And I'll just share it with you. There's the app, it's in Play Store. It's called Calm. And I'm telling you, this Calm app, it gives you access to different materials, like meditation programs. So for example, it has 7 days of Calm program. It also gives you meditation exercises, sleeping exercises. You even have where you can have you can listen to a reading as you fall asleep. It also gives you little messages that comes. It's so amazing, because when I started my foundation, Go Inspire Jamaica Foundation, I actually created an app for it where I would send messages via the app every morning, like about 6 o'clock in the morning. So the persons who have the app could get that message to start off their day. And so I wasn't able to maintain it due to financial constraints, but here I found some apps that are already out there and available. Calm is one of them, and the other one is them that I also use. I don't remember the name. I think it's called Law of Attraction, that I also use. And what that is like it gives you daily quotes that you can read, and you can just feel inspired as you go throughout your day. And I also have one called 365 Gratitude. And that is really, it has like a 21 days of gratitude program along with other things. And I just find those things very important and interesting because it keeps me connected. What I also do is I love nature. Like I say it all the time, the rain is my favorite, absolutely favorite element. Like it's my favorite weather. There's nothing that lights me up more than feeling the rain falling against my skin. Sometimes I go outside and I dance in the rain, literally, right? And I love feeling the ground, the dirt, the grass touching my feet, my skin. I love to feel that. I love to touch the trees, and I like to crush the leaves in my palms and feel it. I love natural. I have fallen in love with just natural things. There is something spiritual, I think, that happens, a spiritual calming. It does something amazing. So when we're in leadership, we have to stay connected, or we become so disconnected that even the people who we are trying to lead can't reach us because we are disconnected. Okay, so we're going to speak with Ruth Lawrence now, and believe me, I know it's going to be a thrilling conversation because she's just that kind of person. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much, Ruth, for being on our program. Welcome. Is that better?
Yes, I'm actually hearing it better. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So I was saying, welcome to my podcast, Finding
Thank
Happy.
you so much.
I'm so happy to have you because I love when
I
I have
am
youth leaders.
I am ecstatic.
Yay! Awesome. Did you get a chance to hear any of the episodes yet? If you didn't, it's okay.
Yes, I did
You did?
actually. I listened
Okay.
to the first one that you had with the young
Ah,
lady. Don't
oh,
remember her
Keisha.
name, but Keisha, right? Where she
Yes.
left her job as a teacher, became a
Yes.
lawyer, and her
Mm-hmm.
quest to finding
Yes.
herself and her purpose.
Yes.
I had an opportunity as well to listen briefly, not
Mm-hmm.
in its entirety, but the
Yes.
clipping by Garfield Burford
Oh,
and
okay.
how he
Yes.
started out,
Yes.
in media and just finding
Mm-hmm.
purpose in what he did. So
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to complete it, but I started.
That's okay. On Thursday, we're going live on my Facebook page with it.
No problem, no problem.
Fantastic, because I wanted to have you directly after hers.
Oh, nice.
Yes, because after I heard
Okay.
her interview, I was like, man, I
Mm-hmm.
would love to have Ruth have a conversation because what happened is I know what you do. And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean that the impact of the youth leadership is not felt in the rural areas,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not as strong
Right.
as in Kingston.
That's true.
So I wanted to expose, because I told her I have somebody who I'm going to interview that I'm going to make sure I send you the interview so you can hear. It can
Okay.
be different elsewhere. There are youth leaders that are out there that's working hard, that's doing the thing, but
Absolutely.
yeah, so all that good stuff. So I'm happy you got a
Okay.
chance to hear it. So um,
Yeah.
I'll just tell you the principles upon which
Mhm.
the podcast exists, right?
Okay.
So the podcast is really my journey that I'm taking to find my own happiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
In 2016, I made a decision to be happy
Mm-hmm.
because most my life I was driven by my need to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And after 35 years of real unhappiness,
Right.
I decided no more. For the rest of my life, I'm going to be happy no matter what. So I started traveling more. I started a
Yeah.
travel blog. I started my ASMR videos. And then I've been asked so many questions because I'm now a certified coach, life and career.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So based on the many questions that kept coming to me and the many conversations I was finding myself in with persons, I decided to start the podcast so I can
Okay.
share my perspectives and others can share theirs too. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really just having conversations with persons to
Right.
speak with, just to hear their perspectives as well. So the three principles are thoughts, feelings, and actions. And
Mm.
thoughts, right? Thoughts being our creation, the seeds that we plant and or unearth from within and who we are, right? And then you have your feelings, which is the meanings and the beliefs we assign to the thoughts that we create of
Mm-hmm.
whatever is happening around us. And then the actions are the manifestation of the habits that we create, we develop from the feelings that we generate from our thoughts. So when we talk about thoughts, it really is
Right.
the determinant of our outcome, of who we become, of our success, of everything about us. And that's the premise. It doesn't mean you have to
Mm.
believe it. It's just that's the premise of the podcast, right? So,
Ah.
yeah.
Love it.
So, yeah, thank you. I invited you as my special guest because I've seen you at work, but also I saw you travel to India.
Mm.
And thereafter, I don't know, you could have been doing it before, and I just started
Yes.
recognizing them afterward. But afterwards, I saw where you were posting books and inspiration. I mean, I saw something. I saw growth. I saw an empowerment. Not that it wasn't there before, but there was something that was
Mm.
so unique about it.
There was an intentionality.
Yes, yes. And so I
Mm.
wanted to have that conversation with you. Before we go any further, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, say who you are,
Mm.
what you do.
Okay. Thank you so much. Well, as was stated, I'm Ruth Lawrence.
Mhm.
I am a youth empowerment officer with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. So in particular, my job really allows me to work, the privilege rather, to work alongside youth leaders all across the island. I am the national coordinator for the Student Sponsor program in Jamaica. So at, since the age of 22, I've been working assiduously with the ministry. Prior to that, I actually volunteered with them for about 5 years while I was in college. Well,
Wow.
transitioning from high school to college, I volunteered with them. So it was rather a smooth transitioning into the
The
professional
power of
field.
volunteerism.
Absolutely. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I have been doing. I also am a business owner. I do operate my own business,
Nice.
training and empowerment uh, service business.
Love
And
it.
of course, my mission over the past couple of years is to ensure that people are motivated and empowered, because I do realize that we reside in a time where many persons are disempowered and people
Mhm.
lack vision for their lives. And as such, I believe that a part of my mission here on earth is
Mhm.
to ensure that people maximize their fullest potential. And that's one of the things that I have been very intentional about. And as you rightly said, I have been reading more. I have been saturating myself with more information, because I believe that if you are to impact people's lives in a way where it makes a difference, you have to first have that encounter. And that's really where my intentionality is right now. So yeah, I mean, there are many other things I could probably state about myself, but I just wanted to add that tidbit. So I'm
Wow.
passionate about development of our young people.
I love the you use the word intentional, and in my book Finding Happy, I have the 7 rules of intention. I
Mm-hmm.
love that word. I hope our listeners even understand the power in that word. And how did you get here? How did you get to this point where you have a grasp on intention and how
Mm-hmm.
to execute it and manifest it? How did you get to this place?
To be honest, it's a journey, and I'm still on the journey, because I do believe that there at no point in time we will ever arrive. It's a continuous process. Really and truly, I believe my life started to change in the latter part of 2016, when I just decided that I no longer wanted to remain the person that I was evolving into. And that was someone who lacked vision, that was someone who lacked focus. So even though I was very productive in my professional life, in my personal life, I wanted to see more growth. I saw persons who were younger than me excelling and doing extremely well, persons who I would have mentored or
Mm-hmm.
tutored, would have surpassed. And though it is that I was very happy to play a part in their lives, I too wanted that transformation. I too wanted and craved for that, continuous development. And as such, I started on a quest just to find me, find myself. I didn't realize that I was meandering, not understanding who I really was. And it really opened a bit of a journey for me to understand who I am, what I've been put here to do, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
since 2015, 2016, I started to read more. I got hooked on a book, The Purpose Driven Life by
Right.
Pastor Rick Warren. And I believed that that book really opened up the path to
Mm-hmm.
the growth and development that I now see. Because I was on a quest, as I said before, to find my purpose, find really God, why am I here, Lord? It couldn't be to just suck up your
Yes.
air.
No, right?
Into something else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
out of that, I said, Lord, I really want to find out why it is that you put me here in the first place. Many things has happened in my life, but I want to know what can I do to make not only a difference in people's lives, but in even my life.
Yes.
And I started to read more. It was from one book to the next. I literally
I
developed an
know.
insatiable appetite for reading, to the point that
Yes.
people probably think I might be getting a little, off the wagon. But that's what reading does. It's like
Yes.
from one book to the next. And I was really passionate about growth. I wanted to
Yes.
grow. I wanted to learn more. I didn't just want to exist anymore. And
Wow.
I think that was one of the things that kind of propelled me to
Yes.
really seeking to develop self.
That's
Yes.
powerful. That's powerful because I know you. I've seen books on there from John Maxwell on leadership,
Oh, absolutely.
T.D. Jakes, Identity and
Yes.
Soar, Sarah
Yep.
Jakes Roberts. And
Mhm.
every time I saw the book, I was like, yes, enlightenment. I could
Absolutely.
feel it because you know what? It happened
Mhm.
for me in 2016 too. For me,
Mhm.
what happened with me is my life flipped upside down. And I mean
Mhm.
upside down. And that's
Mhm.
because I'm a Jonah.
Yeah.
God will tell me what to do, and I'm using God because I know because you used it too. um,
Absolutely.
and you know, he's constantly, because like you, I was that person too who was work, work, work. I completely neglected me. It was
Uh,
never about me. And so that was what happened for me too. And that same book, The Purpose Driven Life, I read it too. And
wow.
I went,
Nice.
yes. And it still took me another couple of months to really see what God was doing in my life, and I had to just let go. I had to just
Right,
let
right.
go, and that was how I started. Well, I was traveling before, but I started seeing the meaning and the purpose in my traveling, and I started blogging about
Mhm.
it. Did your trip to India awaken or further awaken things in you? These things.
Absolutely, it did. I would say further awaken because
Mm-hmm.
I had already started on a path for transformation,
Right.
not reformation. I think a lot of the times we tend to look at just the reform, but really
Mm-hmm.
and truly, reformation speaks to an alteration of what already exists.
Right.
So I started a quest to transform me. There were some inner things within me in terms of how I thought, in terms of my actions that I didn't like. I didn't quite like. I didn't like how people got under my skin, you know? I had
Right.
to deal with certain issues of self, and going to India really put things into perspective because I got an opportunity, a first-hand opportunity to watch how people lived. I think for us here in Jamaica, we might think that, we are the worst of the worst, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
because of how we live and,
Yeah.
our daily realities. But when I
Mm-hmm.
went there, it really put things into perspective that
Yes.
what we take for granted here
Ooh.
is literally
Mm-hmm.
uh,
The
put on a
treasures of the world.
pedestal. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, it really, and my lecturer too, Professor Ganesh, he really instilled some really critical life lessons every time we had classes, and everything was surrounding humility and understanding self. And
Mm-hmm.
that really helped me to look at who I am, because I didn't recognize that I was prideful. I
Mm.
thought I was fine. I thought I was okay. But I
Yeah.
didn't realize that I was struggling because of past issues that I would have encountered. I struggled with
Right.
pride. I struggled with trying to be somebody, or allowing people to acknowledge and recognize that I am somebody. So I
Yes.
sought a lot of external validation rather than validating self.
Wow.
So that really helped to change my life and my trajectory in terms of loving and understanding self more and seeking to be the best version of myself. So I tell you, and even studying the philosophies of Mahatma Gandhi too helped
Ah,
me to understand. I'm telling you, it
nice.
was transformational.
Wow.
Helped me to understand that my life, and that's one of his quotes, my life is my message. And it
Mm.
really spoke to me that, listen, every day when I get up, when God gives me the opportunity to breathe his breath, it's not to just exist, it's to make an impact in the world. And that for me really helped to transform my way of thinking, being, and existing.
Wow. Wow. That is wonderful. And oh, that, that is so powerful, Ruth. It is. It's really powerful because traveling did that for me too.
Mm,
In coaching, I the first thing I teach my clients is selfishness.
mm,
And it's not just about wanting, but caring about
mm,
self. and
Absolutely.
understanding and unearthing, who am I? What am I here for? I didn't create myself. And what led to you? You spoke about not liking what you were seeing manifesting. You were manifesting. Was there
Mhm.
anything? How does one, another young person who's listening, because for a young person, you sound so
Mm.
profound, and that's a
Thank you.
compliment to you.
Thank
So
you.
profound, and I'm saying that because
Mhm.
I have quite a bit of young persons who are my clients, and they're not where you are yet. How did you get to the point where what you're pretty much doing is owning your truth? How did you
Mm.
get to that place where you're able to touch what was not as you want it to be? That manifestation, how did you get to the point to make it so tangible to yourself so you could fix it?
Well, one of the things I can give the highest credit to, and
Mhm.
that's Jesus Christ. I mean,
Yes.
He makes the difference in my life.
Mhm.
For example, as I said before, there was a point in my life where I was literally drowning. I
Wow.
didn't know how to exist. I didn't know why I was here. I struggled with who I was as an individual, and I really just didn't know. And I remember one day I said to God, I said, God, I need you to help me. I
Wow.
don't know what to do, so I need your help. And literally, I can tell you what the Lord started to do in me is that He changed my diet. And some people may say, "Oh, did you start eating healthier?" Actually, let me explain diet.
Yes.
I changed my mental diet.
Yes.
I changed my mental diet because you see, the thing is, we can exercise all we want, we
Mhm.
can, eat healthy all we want, and that's good.
Mindfulness.
But
Mhm.
we have to first learn that in order for us to become the person that God has destined for us to be, we first have to change our mental diet.
Absolutely.
And what I did, I started to listen. And yes, I'm a Christian, and I'm not new to preaching. I'm not new to affirmation. I'm not new to that because, I mean,
Mhm.
the Bible speaks a lot about it. But I became, again, intentional. What I did,
Mhm.
certain negativity that I would entertain, I stopped. Certain
Yes.
friends that, couldn't speak anything but negativity, I just cut them off, right? So
Yes.
what I did, I literally absorbed, I became so absorbed in listening to uplifting messages, Les Brown, TD Jakes.
Mhm.
And these are persons who we can
Yes.
see, to Lisa Nichols. I
Absolutely.
started to absorb myself in motivational speakers who spoke
Yes.
to my spirit. Not
Yes.
only that, but what worked for me as well was affirmation, writing out my affirmation.
Mhm.
I remember what was so profound when I was in India. It was about 1 o'clock the morning. I got up, I couldn't sleep, and I heard in my spirit, start writing what you want to see.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
was like, listen, who else is in this
Yes.
room? Or can you
Yes.
imagine you're in a foreign land and you hear a voice,
Trust me, he speaks
write
to
what you
me.
want to see. And I'm telling you right now,
Yes.
I literally started to look around and I was like, I know the voice of God. And I said, okay,
Yes.
Lord, I got up.
Mm-hmm.
And I grabbed my pen and I grabbed my notebook, and I just started to write. I am
Wow.
powerful. I am not pitiful. I am this.
Absolutely.
I am whatever, whatever. And I just started to write from my heart.
Wow.
I didn't see a lot of the things then, but the
Mm-hmm.
thing is that you have to speak things into being. And,
Absolutely.
and every night before I went to my bed, and I deliberately went to bed at 12 o'clock every night, and I spoke those things into the atmosphere. And I
Wow.
looked at myself in the mirror and I spoke to myself, you are
Absolutely.
blessed. I am smart. I am intelligent. I
Yes.
am. I just started to do
Yes.
the I affirmation, and
Yes.
that's really what made that was one of the major turning points in my life, because we have to understand that our minds, people will
Mm-hmm.
say bad things about us, but we tend to believe more about what we say about ourselves than anybody else.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
I changed my mental diet by feeding myself
Wow.
that I can do it. I am the best. And I just started to speak what I wanted to see. And some people may say, but it will cause you to become absorbed in self. No, when you are at a point where you are struggling with self, you
Mhm.
need to reaffirm self.
And
And that's the step.
selfishness is a good thing. Narcissism
Ab-
is a bad thing. But we
Absolutely.
confuse the
Absolutely.
two.
The two, absolutely.
What
And
you're
and it
saying is so
wasn't
powerful.
and it wasn't about being, braggadocious, or just saying, I am this, or no, it wasn't anything like that. It was really uh calling into being my Godfidence. Not even confidence, but my
Mm-hmm.
Godfidence. It was calling into being the person that God called me, created me to be before the foundation of this earth. It was calling that person to come into play right now in my presence.
Wow, that's powerful. I got to the place where I write even my prayers. I
Yes.
realized that when I was praying, I was so unconsciously praying, I didn't
Mm,
even really know what I was praying about. I had
mhm.
to write my thoughts down to make sure that my prayers were being effective.
Oh.
How do you bring this mindfulness to your leadership?
Uh, Mindfulness and I love the topic, by the way, Raquel. It's very timely and relevant. When you think about mindfulness, I think that came into perspective for me this year.
Mhm.
When I participated in the GMMB, they have what a training called the Conversation for Greatness.
Wow.
And it really looks at self in its entirety, because yes, I started the journey a couple of years before, but I became a little bit more mindful
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
as to why I do what I do in life.
Yes.
And where mindfulness is concerned, we have to understand that mindfulness tends to put things into perspective.
Yes.
It tends to not only put ourselves into perspective, but also the perspective of other people, the paradigm of other people.
Yes.
In
Yes.
become
I love that word.
Yeah,
Paradigm.
absolutely. Because the paradigm is how you see the world, and your
Yes.
paradigm is shaped by your experiences in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so
And how
I
you
had to become
interpret those experiences.
abs- absolutely. And
Yes.
we all know how many persons tend to misinterpret uh,
Yes.
fact versus their interpretation. So
Mm-hmm.
all of those pointers came out in that training, and I realized too that many a times, many of the relationships that I self-sabotaged, it wasn't because of the other person, it was because of my own paradigm.
Powerful.
And I had to realize that I had to move out of that
Yes.
judgmental space into a space of non-judgment. And this is both
Mm-hmm.
for self and others. And I
Yes.
think a lot of the times we tend to put ourselves in prison because of the mistakes that we have made, not thinking that we can literally create a new slate for
Wow.
ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have failed. Yes, you have probably made some bad decisions, but you can turn a new leaf and you can recover, you can bounce back. But many persons don't think that way. They believe that because they failed, they are a failure. But we have
Right.
to understand that an occurrence, a failure is merely an occurrence. It doesn't define who you
Yes.
are.
And I always say fail forward.
Absolutely.
Fail
But
forward.
what we
Yes.
do, we tend to allow that occurrence to become the
Mm-hmm.
general way in how we see life,
Oh,
in how we do
yes.
everything.
It becomes our
And I was
definition.
it
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And I
Yes.
realized I was trapped in that paradigm. And I
Wow.
was very judgmental of other people, not realizing that my judgment of people was because of my own internal judgment of
Interpretation.
self.
Yes. It's always
And
connected.
self as well.
Uh-huh. Yes,
Absolutely. So I had
absolutely.
to come. I'm telling you, when I finished that training, I cried tears.
Wow.
I didn't know that all of this was bottled up in me. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought I was perfect. I thought I was on my way to glory. I thought people
Yeah.
just needed, to be more like me. I was
Yes.
good.
Yes.
But
Yes.
that training really stripped me down to the core in
Wow.
understanding that I wasn't the perfect person I thought I was. And
Mm-hmm.
nobody
Mm-hmm.
is, and we will never
No
be.
one. No one
However,
is. Yes.
mhm, What
No.
we need to be is
Yes.
intentional about
Yes.
becoming better. And that's my
Yes.
quest since then till
Wow.
now.
I love that because you see, I I learned God had to show me failure for me to
Mm,
understand and embrace failure. And it's
mm-hmm,
so funny because I was so OCD in managing everything that he had to send an unreal version of failure for me to get
mm-hmm,
it because it wasn't real. It wasn't what it was. It wasn't factual, but it was
mm-hmm,
necessary.
mm,
And now I live a life
mm-hmm,
embrace. I'm just waiting for my next failure because after that failure, oh
mm,
gosh, like if you just stop and just let it happen, there's this. I always say, when you're going through a tunnel, don't look for the light at the end of the tunnel until you have found the diamond within. Don't get past that failure until you
mm,
figure out what that failure is for. It's your wisdom.
absolutely.
The failure is your
Mhm.
wisdom. What you're
Oh,
sharing
absolutely.
now is an insight that I'm telling you, having just started, because I didn't even realize that persons were coming to me a long time ago for coaching. I didn't know coaching was what I was doing until my coach said to me, Yes, Kyle, that's what you're doing. You've been doing it." Right? I just didn't know
Yeah.
the term. I didn't know the name. I didn't know what to call it.
Mhm,
Right? But when you discover it, and so what you have it, your experience and what you're speaking about is a level of insight that a lot of persons have not yet found. How do you,
mm.
through your leadership, spread this light?
Well, one of the things I have done, and to be honest, it was never in my scope at all to do.
Yes,
I have started
chosen.
I've started to use my social media platform as just a conduit to spread the word.
Mhm.
So, for example, for the month of October, I am actually on a series, Let It Go, and that's
Wow.
really confronting our past
Yes.
and embracing the future that God has. So I've been using my platform
Love
to
it.
spread the message,
Yes.
and not only that, I do have one-on-one, as you rightly said, you didn't know that you had coaching inside of you because it's
Mhm.
something that came naturally. I didn't know. I think I was probably in primary school, I've always been
Yeah.
encouraging people. I didn't really take it for nothing. I just
Yeah.
believe I
It
talk
just,
a lot,
yeah.
I took it because I
Yes.
probably love to
Me
talk.
too.
But no, coming into my adult life, I
Yeah.
realized that it is indeed a gift,
It is. It
and
is.
it's not something to take for granted. It's not
True.
something to use to manipulate, because people do use
Yes.
this gift
Yes.
and this privilege to manipulate. And
Yes.
I have come to the realization that it's not to manipulate, it's not to cause people to have you on a pedestal. It's for you to be able, for God to use you rather, to
Yes.
influence, to impact a life. Because that's what
Mhm.
leadership is all about. Leadership is
Yes.
all about influence. If you have no
It
influence
is.
on people, you are not
There's
a
no
leader.
leader. Yes.
Absolutely. So
Absolutely.
with leadership comes responsibility. And I
Yes.
think that's where many persons who claim, or to be leaders, don't
Mhm.
understand
The
that being
responsibility
a
part.
leader,
Mhm.
absolutely, it requires you being responsible
And accountable.
and accountable,
Yeah.
absolutely, and
Do you see?
transparent.
Yes, absolutely. Do you see mindfulness being manifested in our leadership from where you sit? Do you see it manifesting where it's present?
Manifest in what regard? In general,
in,
generally
in
speaking.
in leadership around you, whether it's leadership of the country, leadership in small spaces, just from where you sit, from your vantage point, do you see mindfulness in leadership?
Well, to be honest, I would say that it exists,
Yes.
definitely. However, uh, I believe that it needs to be amplified.
Yes.
And I think as a result of it not necessarily being amplified is persons not really being open to understanding self, and
Right.
persons not coming from rather a place of spirit or love,
Hmm.
but rather a place of ego. And
Yes.
I
Yes.
think as soon as we can differentiate the two, spirit
Mhm.
love versus ego,
Yes.
we will be in a better position. I think many persons right now may start out in good intentions in terms of
Yes.
making a difference. However, not understanding power and how to manage power, you can actually be placed in a state where you seek to manipulate
Mm-hmm.
rather than positively impact
Right,
or,
right.
or positively seek out change. So I
Yes,
think a lot of the times where when we look at leadership,
yes.
it's almost like a block in the child of in the hand of a child. It
Mm-hmm.
can't be managed because the capacity has not been developed. And I
Yeah.
encourage my youth leaders all the time that listen, even though you may have a drive, and people may say you are an excellent leader, check
Mm-hmm.
your internal character. Check
Yes,
your character. Because if
yes.
your character does not line up over time, you will corrupt or you
Yes,
will become corrupted. So I
right,
always tell them be very mindful of why it is you do what you do and who you are serving. And
right.
I think introspection too is something that
Critical.
I do a lot.
Yes,
I didn't
yes,
used to do it, but I
yes.
believe that even if we look at the natural, because the Bible says so in the natural, so it is in the spiritual. If we
Absolutely.
look at a car that we own, we can't just drive that car every day.
Exactly. You have to
We just
service it.
drive. We just drive. You
Yes,
know, there comes a time when we have to
yeah.
take that car to the shop and say, listen, we
Absolutely.
need an oil change. We need to change the brake. We
Absolutely.
need to get a total, so we need a time off
Yes,
the road. But many
yes.
of us just keep going. So we don't take
Mm-hmm.
the time to introspect. We don't take the time to take
Me
that
time.
inventory of self, that
Yeah.
self inventory to say, this is where I am. This affected me negatively. How I reacted, it wasn't so
Yes.
wise. So in the next time, should this happen again, this is how I would want to act. So
Right.
inventory is also important and
Absolutely. Because you see, some of us don't know our own names beyond writing it down or
oh yeah,
introducing ourselves. I mean,
oh
you're
wow,
not saying hi, Ruth, every day unless you deliberately and intentionally get up and say, hey, I'm awake, I'm
yeah,
here. So I've learned the two most important investment is therapy and coaching. For me
oh
anyway.
yeah,
For me anyway. Because I'm telling you, if you don't know who you are missing out on your happiness. You are
oh,
missing out on your power. You are missing out on the diamond that is you.
mm-hmm,
The diamond that is you.
mm-hmm.
Understanding what mindfulness is and how insightful you are. How do you think mindfulness or a lack of it can potentially affect governance of people, not of a country, but of people?
Of people.
Yes.
Mindfulness in that regard, I do believe would come from a place of wanting to understand. There
Yes.
is a saying that says, first seek to
To understand,
understand
then to
before,
be
being
understood.
then to absolutely.
Stephen
And
Covey.
yes, Stephen
Yeah.
R. Covey. So many a times we find that we want to push on other people.
Or
We want
agendas.
to force on other people our agenda.
Yes.
We want for them to understand us, But
Mhm.
really, where the magic lies,
Yes.
where the death to self really
Mhm.
comes into play is when we seek to understand the persons are that we serve,
Yes.
that we are serving,
Yes.
understanding from a place of goodwill too. What affects
Mhm.
them? Why does it affect them? How can you help that person to become the best? But what you find is that many persons want to use the people as pedestals
Yes.
to stand upon rather than to seek out ways and means to elevate people while you rise yourself.
Yes. Yes.
It's finding that balance, that middle ground to ensuring that while if I go up on level 2, you're gonna be coming up on level 2 too.
Mhm.
It's not that I'm gonna be on level 2 and you're still gonna remain at 1. No, it's
Right.
ensuring that while you grow, that other persons feed from you
Yes.
and
Yes.
can learn. But because when we come from a state of ego is
Mhm.
very selfish.
Oh
Ego wants
yes.
all. Ego wants everything to resound, reside around that
Yes.
particular individual, and not
Yes.
to help other people. So that is why I always tell people, please to take introspection of self.
Yes.
And
Yes.
when you introspect, you can object. And if you are objective with self, rather, you'll be able to identify, am I coming from a place of ego where it's just
Yes.
me, 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 me? Or am I coming from a place where I sincerely want to help people? And this is
Yes.
not in a bid either to neglect self, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also taking that time to put self a little bit on the back burner,
Yeah.
especially from the standpoint of leadership, because remember,
Yes.
you're at the forefront, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whichever wrong turn you take, it's going to affect your flock.
Yes.
It's going to affect the people
Absolutely.
who are following you. And therefore, it requires of us that level of responsibility. How is your ability to respond to changes? How is your ability to respond to the needs of people? That's what responsibility really means,
Yes. Yes.
how's your ability to respond?
Yes.
Many of us really don't have the ability to
Wow.
respond because we don't know how to do it in the first
That's
place.
true. That is absolutely true.
So once we get to that stage, then we'll definitely, be in a better place in
Wow.
terms of governance.
What would you, as a youth leader now, and you've been a youth leader for as long as I've known you, for as
Yeah.
long as I've known you, what lessons have you learned that you would have taught your young self entering high school?
Mm. Entering high school. Oh, my high school life was exciting.
Yes. Yes.
I was in so many clubs, it wasn't funny.
Wow.
Anyway, um, to be honest, what I would probably do if I was to tell my younger self is to take my academics a little bit more seriously. I mean,
Hmm.
yes, I did take it to some extent seriously, but I became so engulfed in wanting to serve, in wanting
Yes.
to lead, that sometimes I neglected my studies.
Wow.
And I think if that was a point that I would want to, a takeaway I would want to share with my younger self, that
Yes.
would be it. Just ensuring that there was balance, and I think that's why I'm so hard to some extent on my young people. I tell them, listen,
Hmm.
balance. You are first a human being,
Wow.
then you are a student, then you are a leader,
Wow. I love that.
right? So back then, I just thought I was a leader. I
Yes.
was a leader,
It was just
and
doing.
absolutely. So if
Hmm.
I was to tell my younger self, I would say, younger self, get involved still, but learn
Yes.
to balance, learn to
Yes.
strike a balance, enjoy yourself. I was
Yes.
so passionate about change and just serving that, I neglected a lot of me,
Yes.
and the things I love because I wanted to serve. So it's just becoming balanced
Yes.
in what I did, especially
Awesome.
where my academics were concerned, because some of it really suffered because I was overly involved.
Yes. Yes.
So that would be it. But it was all worth it. I can't complain.
Wow. Wow. That's wonderful. What recommendations do you have for youth leaders? Three things that
Mm,
they must, three key recommendations
mm.
that you have for them.
Three key recommendations.
Yes.
As a youth leader, number one, do not fear change.
Oh my
And I'm
gosh.
serious. Do not
Yes.
fear change. Number one, because life is
Is
always
changing.
evolving. Life
Mm-hmm.
is not static. And I
Yes.
think for many of us, we believe that the same person that we were 10 years ago, we're gonna
Mhm.
remain the same person today. Life, no, 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 no. Life is not like that. Life is ever changing, and we have to be able to develop that adaptability
Yes.
to move with life. So do not fear change. That would be the first thing. Learn to adapt and adjust yourself to the demands of life. That's
Wow.
number one. Number two, become valuable. And I realize that many persons want, and when I say become valuable, Understand that every one of us, we have that level of uniqueness within us.
Hmm.
We are unique in our own right. We are not a knockoff substandard version of someone else. And we have to understand that. And when we start to embrace our uniqueness, we will be able to tap into our value center. And the value center that we have, that is what causes us to stand out, right? So I would say don't fear change, become valuable. What is it? What area is it that you want to serve in? Seek to know. I wanted to become a motivational speaker. In order to do so, I had to read more. I had to saturate myself with motivational videos, audios, podcasts, just
Yes.
learning from other people, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
so that caused me to add value to my life. When I open my mouth, people actually want to listen
Yes.
because I provided them with value, and value is not giving people what already exists. Value is giving people what doesn't exist. It's
Yes.
going above and beyond,
Mhm.
because many persons right now, everybody a motivational speaker. I
I
mean,
know, right?
what causes you to stand out from the crowd? That is
Exactly.
important. And oftentimes, what adds to our value is our uniqueness.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
number three, I would say, don't be hard on yourself.
Wow.
Learn to let go of
Mm.
failures. Use your failure as a cushion. Use it as
Mhm.
that as a dirt, to
Yes.
cause you to move out of that hole
Launching
of,
pad.
of absolutely as a launching pad. Because
Hmm.
many times, as I would have rightly said earlier, we use
Yes.
failure as that determinant that we are failure. We
Yes.
are a failure. It's not.
Hmm. Yes.
Failure should be looked at from the vantage point of, okay,
Yes.
bam, I learned something new today.
Yes. Yes. The
Okay,
better the
let's
failure you are, the more
ab-
inventive you
oh
can.
my, talk to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen, don't fear failure.
Yes.
Embrace it because it's a critical part of life. And the
Yes.
sooner we literally start to hug up failure, we
Hmm.
will start to understand that we don't need to despise failure. We need to learn from it. Let
Absolutely.
failure be that thing that speaks to us and teaches us what not to do.
Right. And you use
And
it to
we will
let it go. Use it
absolutely
and let it go.
use it and dash it away. Not even let
Yes.
go. Dash it.
Absolutely. Do not carry it forward.
Absolutely. So learn from it and move on. So that would be it.
Wow.
Don't
Um,
fear change, become
yes.
valuable, and you are not a failure, even if you fail.
Wow. This conversation was so powerful. I'm telling you, it
Mm.
I literally feel this thing, this energy, like this
Wow.
really nice, calm, amazing energy from the
Mm.
conversation. Is there
Wow.
anything else you want to say to the person that lives listening to this podcast? Anything you want to leave with them?
What can I leave? Uh, I would say strive to be humble every day. Pursue humility every day. I believe that many times we're tempted to become very absorbed in our ability and how we do things. But we have to ensure that whatever we do, we remain humble. And by humble, I don't mean that you're going to take substandard things, you're going to do substandard things. No, it means understanding that you have been given a unique gift to do and to be who you are. And with that groundation,
I like that.
we can now understand that it's not about us, but
Yes.
it's about the God that placed us here. And
Yes.
so, even what I do, people will say, oh, wow, that was awesome, that was excellent. I have to now go back into self and say, thank you, Lord, for the
Yes.
vision. Thank you, Lord, for the ability. because we tend to want to praise the creation many a times and not acknowledging the
The
creator.
creator. Yes.
Absolutely. So
Yes.
in that, that's why I would say remain humble, because
Yes.
we're tempted. We're human beings, and I won't say that many a times I'm not tempted, but I'm very happy that the Holy Spirit at times will rope me back in and say,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
remember who brought you here. Remember who gave you this opportunity. And
Yes.
for that, I am always mindful, and I pray for that mindfulness, that
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not here in my own strength. I'm not
Yes.
here in my own wisdom. Before I came on this podcast, I said, Lord, give me the wisdom to
Wow.
answer the questions, to be able to impact someone's life. Because yes,
Wow.
I can come and I can be very eloquent in how
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
speak and in how I deliver, but it can be of null effect
Yes.
on a person's life. I want, when I speak, it transforms and it brings about
Yes.
true, long lasting change. And
Wow.
that's really one of my mission in life.
That's
So just
powerful.
remain humble.
Wow, that is powerful. My last question to you, if there's one person who's listening to you right now who is at the place where you're at and they're thinking to themselves, okay, I understand she was here, she recognized it, she moved and she came here.
Mhm.
What's the top three steps for dummies, quote unquote dummies? If the person have no clue, how do they get from confusion, lack of
Mhm.
self-awareness, don't know what is
Mhm.
happening to me right now, I'm in chaos, to
Mhm.
clarity? Because that's what
Mm.
happened to you. One,
From
two, three
chaos to
steps, one,
clarity.
yes. Or
Mm.
it doesn't have to be three steps, any amount of
Mhm.
steps. Just
All
what
right.
practical thing, right?
All right. So number one, I would say to that person listening right now, one of the things I did is that I maintained a diet of motivation, mental motivation. I think it was I don't remember the motivational speaker, but he said that motivation is like taking a bath. You need it every day.
Absolutely.
Many a
Absolutely.
times, many a times we think that, oh, I'm gonna listen to
One
a
time.
motivational message, today, and for the next 2 weeks you're off course.
Mm-hmm.
No, you have to do it every day. I
Yes,
became very intentional about that. If you come into
way of
my
life.
room right now, around my room, so number one, you have to stay motivated. And that's
Yes.
an everyday thing. A part of my morning routine is not only that I do my devotions, it's not only that I pray and read my Bible to hear what the Lord wants to say to me, in setting my day, but I ensure that as soon as I get up from my knees in
Mm-hmm.
prayer, I turn on my phone or my radio to listen to a motivational message on YouTube,
Wow.
whether it be PD Jakes, whether it be
Yes.
Terry Savelle Foy, is also someone who helped me. So,
Yes.
guys, Terry Savelle Foy is thebomb.com. Listen,
Awesome.
she is just the sweetest white lady you will find, but I'm telling you, she has some tips and nuggets that really help to transform my life. So
Awesome.
remaining motivated is important, and it's an everyday thing. Number two, research the areas that you are falling short in. What are the
Wow.
areas that affect you? You're struggling with basically.
Mm-hmm.
I researched that. For example, I would research scriptures in that regard, and I
Wow.
would speak them over my life each day. But not only
Nice.
that, I developed strategies in countering those weaknesses. So I became very intentional because I believe in life, in everything that you do, you must develop a strategy. So
Yes.
number one, stay motivated,
Mm-hmm.
develop a strategy, research, find out about how you can overcome. And that's one of the things that I did. And three, surround yourself with positive people. I
Yes.
said it earlier, I had to chop off,
Oh,
I had
yes.
to kick away,
I
I
always
had
say
to pray
transform
away.
yourself into your new network.
Absolutely. I had to literally write down, I wrote down a list of people
Yes.
in my life, and I divided them into categories. The
Mm-hmm.
persons who took from my life, the persons
Yes.
who sowed into my life, and the persons who really don't know why they're in my life.
Wow. Very nice.
And I'm telling you, and actually that came about when I read the book by Bishop T.D. Jakes,
Yes.
Before You Do. he has an excellent chapter on friends. How
Three
to deal with
types.
friends. Absolutely. The comrades, the
Comrades,
constituents,
yes,
uh-huh,
constituents and
and the
confidants.
and the and the confidence. I'm telling you, that changed my life. When I read
Yes.
that book, I'm telling you, I
Mhm.
wrote down the three columns and I
Yes.
started to write people down, write people's names
Mhm.
under each column. And I'm telling you,
Yes.
some people that I know did not have any intention in impacting my life in any way, and I couldn't impact them either. I said,
Right.
listen, this is just a waste of our time. Let us
Yes.
go, let us just lose ourselves and move on.
Absolutely.
And it's not like
Absolutely.
I just said, I'm just gonna, no, I just slowly took
Mhm.
myself
Yes.
away. As the
Yes.
song says in Jamaica, follow the rhythm and take away thyself. And
Yes.
that's what I did. I
Yes.
just slowly started to
Yes.
move away from certain company. I just
Mhm.
started to become more absorbed and I started to rap more with people who
Yes.
were going somewhere, people who had a vision.
Yes.
My two core friends right now, I'm telling you, if I
Mhm.
ever come to them and tell them something which is beneath my capability
Yes.
or my functionality, I am telling you, I am going to get some dunnings.
Oh
I
my goodness,
I'm
you're
going,
speaking about my life. You
they're
are
gonna dun me.
speaking
They're gonna be
about,
like, listen, do you know
yes.
who you are? I cannot go to them with some standard ideas. I can't. So they
Oh,
keep me ticking.
yes.
And I'm like, I'm telling
Mhm.
you, I have a friend, Tamika. Oh my God. Tamika, hey, she keeps me on my toes.
Wow.
Like, there's sometimes I will say things to her and she's like, Ruth, you hear yourself? Uh-uh. And
Yes.
to the point where I'm afraid, Raquel, to say certain things.
Yes.
I'm like, no. So
Yes.
she keeps me in check, and I love it.
Wow.
I
Yes.
love it. Sometimes I
Yes.
would say, boy, go easy on me, but I love it
Mhm.
because it
Yes.
challenges me to
Fanning your
be
flames.
my best self.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Because you see, I remember there's a challenge that I often give my clients. Most my clients, I give this challenge to
Mm-hmm.
abandon everyone in your life. And if you need to reconnect, you
Mm-hmm.
can. And if you
Mm-hmm.
find you cannot let everybody go, no matter who it is,
Mm-hmm.
you can't take a week or a month or whatever by yourself, then
Mm-hmm.
you're not ready for change. Because if you're not
Mm-hmm.
yet capable of choosing yourself,
Ah,
others are more important than you are
absolutely.
to yourself. You must
Mm,
be able to. And you see the person who is for you,
mm.
gonna allow you to, and they'll be right there sitting waiting for you.
Oh, I tell you.
Exactly. Because you see the thing is, if
And
you,
they're not.
yes,
Mhm.
go ahead.
And they're not intimidated by
Not
your
at
success.
all. Not at
They're not
all.
intimidated because they're in their own
Absolutely.
lane. But many
Yes.
times we try to go into other people's lanes
Yes.
and we become envious and we become bitter
Yes.
and we try to compete. Our only competition
Absolutely.
should be with
Yes.
ourselves.
And we confuse our confidence with our
Ah,
comrades, and our
absolutely.
comrades with
Mhm.
our constitution.
Absolutely.
Our constituency, we have to be
Mhm.
conscious of those things, because the thing is, if you are here and the people you have, you're in a state of depression,
Mhm.
clearly you need to come out of the state you're in,
Mhm.
because if you already had what you needed, then you wouldn't need anything else,
Wow.
right?
True.
So if you need, there's a quote that says, if you need something, if you want something you've never had, you've got to do
Mhm.
something
Do
you've never done.
something you've never done.
You've never done.
Absolutely.
Your conversation was so, I'm telling you, I felt like you were telling me about my life.
Ah.
You don't even understand. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, and I'm like, 2016, me too. And I'm like, she is talking about my life. She is
Mhm.
talking about the changes I made. She is
Wow.
talking about me.
Wow. To
I am
God be the
telling you,
glory.
I'm listening to you, and I am like, what's going on inside of me?
Mhm.
I'm like,
Mhm.
what's going on? Like, it was so riveting.
Mm.
It was so
Wow.
riveting, and I'm so thankful to you. And
Mhm.
I want my listeners to know that you are one of those persons who, I believe, this is my personal opinion, have the capacity and the temerity to really lead, to
Mm.
really lead.
Wow.
And I'm not just talking based on this conversation, because we've
Mhm.
worked together
Mhm.
before. to really
Absolutely.
lead. So I'm here, and my podcast is here. Anytime you want to use it, I'm here.
Trust me, I'm more than willing to share with you
Oh,
anytime, Raquel. It was
absolutely.
my pleasure.
Ah, thank you so much. Would you like to leave your contact details or information or anything? You can go right ahead.
Sure, sure. You can follow me on social media, uh, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. It's Ruth underscore on purpose. So it's Ruth underscore on purpose. And you can feel free to send me your emails. Send me emails based on what I would have said. If there's anything that resonated with you, you can send me an email to Ruth A underscore Lawrence at yahoo.com. That's Ruth A underscore Lawrence at yahoo.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I enjoyed our
Thank you
conversation.
so much. Thank you, Raquel, for the
Thank you.
opportunity.
All the
Thank
best.
you. All the best. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you so much for staying with us and listening to my conversation with Ruth. She was so bubbly and so fired up, and she, throughout the interview, I could feel there was this energy, this peaceful, free flowing energy when we were speaking, and as she spoke about her experiences and the advancements and the life lessons she's learned. I'm telling you, it was just powerful. This is a young leader in a developing country that has taken the decision to self-reflect, to look at herself, and to choose to invest in herself, and to choose to make the choices and the decisions that benefits herself. She was always lovely and pleasant and just warm. Her conversation with me was so spirited, like, whew, I just loved it. So thank you, Ruth, for speaking with me today. If you got nothing from this conversation, or if you remember nothing from this conversation, because I'm sure you got something because you stayed. 3 things I'd like to leave with you. If you remember nothing about this podcast, about the conversation, please remember these 3 things. We're all leaders. Number 1, we're all leaders. All of us. You are leading. You are leading someone. Someone is looking at you. You are an example to someone. Be a good example. Be a good leader. Be a mindful leader. That's number 1. Right? So be mindful that you are leading from wherever you are. It doesn't matter what job you have. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. Someone is looking at you, right? And the fact that you have the potential, or you're potentially influencing someone, be mindful of that. You're a leader. Number 2, one of the best things you can do for yourself as a leader is to forgive. Forgive the people working below you. Forgive yourself. Forgive your boss. Forgive your parents. Whoever upset you, forgive them. Forgive so that you can lead with a clear heart, a clear mind, and good energy. The 3rd thing, choose what kind of leader you want to be and be clear about it. Own your truth. Represent your truth, speak your truth. It's okay to let people know that, guess what? This is just who I am or who I want to be. This is me. Be confident in who you are. And if you're not confident in who you are, make the changes you need to make so you can be confident, so you can lead effectively. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening and for being here. You could have been somewhere else. There's so much happening, but you're here listening. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a phenomenal day. I am Satin Brownie, and thank you for listening to Finding Happy Podcast. Goodbye.